up, guys? Got another group of builds to show off. These are going out to my buddy Matt. Um, it took a while to get everything sorted. I wanted to make sure that these things were perfect for him. So let's go over them a little bit in detail. So with these builds, they're all identical. We did them in solid silver as well as with a custom Italian leather strap. Um, this is the first time anybody's seen this actual leather strap. No other watch that I've built has this on it yet. I do have a variation of it with like an ammo pouch leather, so it's like a darker brown and has black in it. So when you get a good look at this, this is the first time these are going out. So it was a new item for me. So pass that along to Matt on these builds. So with these builds as full silver, we did a custom lasered dial in aluminum, sanded it down. Actually, we bead blasted it and then sanded it. Then it's backside loomed. So actually, I can just show you with the light here. You can see that the numbers themselves have been lasered out. The pip markers at 10, 11, 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 are out. And then the lines at 12, 3, 6, 9 are lasered out. Obviously, you've got Loom in your Lumio logo, as well as the hands themselves. So lasered out completely and then backside loomed. Automatic mechanical movement on it, so you've got your rotor in the back. You can put it on a winder. You can wear it to keep time throughout the day. So brushed 170 case. I've only done a few of these cases in the past. These are a little bit more expensive, but if you can see this clearance that we have in the lug area, that is beneficial whenever you jump over and you throw on one of your leathers. So when we're on leather, which it's really easy to swap from stainless steel over to leather, it's not too terrible to go back. But see this clearance right here? This is ideal because the other cases that I use, it's much tighter right there, and over time it wears on the upper part of the leather, so you get like, areas of distress, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But these, as you can see, it will fully move and it's not dragging against the backside. So brushed case. So if you ever nick it, just take the green side of the Scotch-Brite, brush it in, just go in a half circle kind of around, go in one direction. Polished shark tooth bezel, and then we have a custom lasered aluminum insert. So we've done it in it's silver with lasered out little sections. Kind of look like white, but technically it is just lasered silver. But it does have a kind of a white look to it, which I kind of like because it kind of ghosts in there nicely. Then we have this on a brushed engineered band. So if you ever nick this, take the green side of the Scotch-Brite, go in one direction, and brush the scratch back in. Sizing this is just taking a punch pen. The sides that are recessed down in, that's the side that you're going to tap out. The other side kind of looks like a screwdriver head. That is not a screwdriver head. That is kind of looks like a cotter pin. It's just coming together like this. And this is kind of pushed out, kind of like how my fingertips are kind of out and they're not perfectly flat. That gets pushed in and that holds it in there. So it's basically a piece of metal that's flipped back over on itself. So when you drive it out, you'll drive it out that way. You'll drive another one out that way. Put together where you want it to go, take out the piece that you don't, and then take that end, the end that comes to a point, and feed it back through so that this looks exactly the same. And when you tap it through, it's not as long as the length of a link, so it stays in kind of that recessed spot. So when you tap it all the way down, it's flat over here, but it has that punch out area for you to actually find it, get your punch down into the hole and pop it out the other side. So if you're ever confused, it tells you how to drive them right there, telling you to drive those down. When you look at the other side, it's actually flipped. You drive this side down and you have the markers on the back saying That's the area you're pushing it through. So you're going to tap the recessed area down to size your watch. So custom engraved clasp, double lock. So you've got just your little lock. This doesn't really do anything. It's just kind of there for looks. It's just a double locker. Once this is open, you got your double push on the sides. You got your push pins right here. Push that and that opens. There is a micro adjustment in this. This is just a spring bar link. So kind of like a toilet paper holder that squeezes in. So if you ever want to make it tighter, but taking out a whole link is just too much, it's too tight, so you need to go like a third of a link, you're basically just going to push this in with a little punch, and whenever that's recessed in there, kind of put pressure on one side and push it forward until it pings and pops back through in the second spot. Flip it over and walk the next one over. That's all these are, these just little compression little springs, and you can walk it on up through there. So that's how that works for those of you who do not know. On this platform, bezel on these will turn left, it'll turn right. These are not clickable bezels, these are just held on with a tension ring. So you can, if you move it this way, you can move it right back. It is on there decently tight, so it shouldn't move on you unless you're actually wanting it to move. It's an automatic mechanical. Oh, didn't show you. We'll also engrave these. Now these are typically when they're about at their tightest possible setting is aligned up perfectly. So if you get one and you tighten it down real good and it's kind of a little bit to the left or whatever, that's what it is. I had these things kind of cranked down a bit, which isn't necessarily a problem, but for some of you guys, even right there is tight, but if you look, you're like, oh well, that's not really lined up. So if you have that issue, that's probably on me. I had them on there like super tight. But these are automatic mechanicals, so you can wind them, you can wear them, you can put them in a watch winder. But if they're dead, or you're not going to be very active if you're driving or something like that, and you want to make sure you keep time, give it a little bit of some wind to it before you put it on, so that if you just put it on, you're not moving around, you're not winding it with the rotor moving it around. So how you do that is you back the crown off the threads until you hear it and feel it clicking. You'll see you got a little bit of play there, so you're off those tubes, and you hear your clicking. So a wind is a turn that way. Turning it towards you doesn't do anything, but it's a lot easier to keep your finger spacing, because I kind of rest mine against the side of the case. Just go back and forth, or you can do this action if you want. I just end up starting to thread it back on when I do that, but it doesn't matter. You can do this for 4 or 5 seconds before you put it on, and that mixed with your rotor movement will keep your time throughout the day. And if you do it for something closer to 20 seconds, you're going to max out that 31-hour power reserve on it. You cannot overwind it, so don't worry about that. You can wind it all day if you like. When you're happy with your winding, you'll pull it to the one and only click, and you can now set your time. It does not have a hacking movement, so it's going to keep going on you. You'll also notice it's got a wobble crown that deflects lateral pressure from going into the stem and into the movement. So if you're pushing and prying on it, it's kind of rolling with you like a ball joint instead of being real tight. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 1:09 p.m.
1:09 p.m. When you're good, take it out of that time setting. I do give it a little tap over to make sure you're out of it, and wind it down. You can go from winding it to setting the time, but you cannot go from setting the time back to winding it. You have to reset the clutch by screwing it all the way back down. But if you don't get it out of the time setting, if you start winding it down, you might be adjusting your time slightly as it grabs on and it gets past that point. So that's why I give it a little tap over, just to make sure it's out of that point. So as you can see, I tightened it, but it's not perfectly straight unless I give it another little crank. So that's that build. This build looks the same as, say, this build back here. So all of them are the same, all lasered. Stainless steel movement holder in the back. I did a bead blasted brass rotor on here that I custom engraved in a low profile exhibition case back. So each one of these is done up the same. Tight bezel on this one. But let's say it's cold outside, you're not wanting to do the stainless steel, or the stainless steel doesn't go with what you're wearing. It's really easy with these ones. So if you see this little bar sticking out right here, those are quick disconnects. If you push it down, it pops right out. Okay. Now this quick disconnect will come out, so you can lose this. But here's a good reference to these spring bars. So if you just pretend like this isn't on there, the ones that are inside where I said you can do the micro adjustment and the clasp, it's just these. And all you're doing is you're pushing them in from the side and walking them. Okay. So when I use one of these, which it doesn't know where to focus, you set the one side in, and when you push this down, it pulls in this side so you can walk it in. If you see that. So that's how you pop these back off. To put them back in there, you'll notice that when you look at the back here, you've got a long cutout and a short cutout. The long cutout is obviously for this piece that sticks up. And you just kind of get your placement on there. And it might be tougher for me to do this looking through a camera than actually looking at my... But you're just going to place it into that bottom lug. Watch, it'll take me forever to do this. This is actually a quick thing. But you place the bottom one in. And like I said, I'm trying to look over my phone right now. I might just set this up just a little bit so I have a little bit more area to see here. Plus I'm using natural light and no real light down here. So it's right there at that front corner, and obviously this one's right at that front corner as well. So that's how you take that off. Now, I already have your spring bars. You have larger spring bars in here, and they will kind of stay in there because these are thicker. So these are pretty simple. Whenever you're putting one of these on the watch, you're going to pop both of those sides off. You are literally... Do I have an extra case just to show you? I've got an extra 170 case right here. You're literally going to take your case, you're going to drop that one side in. See how it's in there? I just take it right up against it, just like I'm doing right here. And I use my fingernail and I push it down. And then I walk it in there. Now it's on. Now we say, how do you get that off? So if you have a spring bar tool, great. You basically can use the side of a tweezer or something like that. But what I do is I just pull my leather down a little bit so you can see it. All you need to do is grab that lip and pull it down. So I have a spring bar tool. To make it easier on me and not nick things up. You can just see it has a little flat head there to it. It's going from the side, and I just push it down. It pops right out. So when you're switching it over, it's not too hard to get them on and off, and you have a lot of clearance there, but so you just want to latch to one side, push this side down. Now once you're in there, you're just going to kind of spin it around until you find it. You just got to remember it's in the bottom corner down here. That's it. It's super easy to put on and swap them on. Taking them off's easy. If you have a tool like this, you just basically need just something to push that side down. That's all. And then throwing the metal one back on is super easy because you've actually got those parts to compress on there. So I'm going to pop this leather off. These are all going to get shipped over to Matt on stainless steel with these just inside the box. These ones, like I said, these are Italian leather straps, super soft. Little custom design I did there, and I had somebody on my last one go, "Hey, did you know you forgot to put stitching in there?" I go, "Yeah, it's supposed to. That's called the style, sir." But I get it. You can have this either way you want. I kind of like to see the stitching, but the other side of it obviously is nice as well. Brush buckle on this. If you ever nick this up, just brush straight down with my initials there on the corner. So those will come in separate. As with every build, they're going to have matching beads. Entirely up to you guys if you wear those or not, but it's a little bit of style added with it. These are all going to come in custom lasered boxes on the top. These will also come with watch cleaner. This is good on all glass and metal parts. So this watch as a whole, when it's on stainless steel, it's non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue. It's also going to come with some leather conditioner to keep your leather straps perfectly soft. If you ever feel that they're not as soft, apply it on both the front and the back of it. Let it soak in, remove any excess. A little bit goes a long way. And just work it in. And we'll go back to being super, super, super soft. And then lastly, you're going to get some fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 off of Amazon. I just repackaged them into these little smaller containers because they send you like a 32 ouncer. But it's for this glass. This glass is acrylic and it can be scratched. But if it's scratched, no big deal. Put a tiny bit of this on it and buff against the scratch using your included microfiber. So if the scratch is up and down, go left and right with it, filling that scratch in and just do little semicircles. And it will solidify in there and bring your glass back to being pretty. So that's it. Those are the builds. Thank you, Matt, for having confidence in me and reaching out and having me build these. And if you ever want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out. I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe, because I put them up all the time. Thanks for your time, guys.